I want to welcome the programme support payment.
Okay.
I think that's a good thing. I really hope it is 1,500 and that it's not going to sort of end up more places get less than the 1,500, because I think that sounds like
it's an average, Deputy.
Yeah, I know, that's what I'm kind of nervous of. That is for some people, is it only maybe going to be 500 and it won't actually be of much benefit to them. But I do welcome it, and I think it's good, because this meeting, I feel, was supposed to be solution focused, and there's lots of things we could say, but I think we do have to try and focus on the solutions. So Deputy Sherlock has asked a lot of the questions I had in relation to the programme support payment. People will get this payment automatically by the 28th of December. They don't have to go filling in forms, making phone calls. Okay. And for the people then that this isn't sufficient, because you'll often find people will say contact Pobble, contact the City or the County Childcare Committee, but when they do that, they don't necessarily get the answers that even yourselves might think they're going to get. Like, we even have that sometimes with Tussler. They say we have a helpline, and then when you talk to people, they say you can't get anywhere with that helpline. Is there a concrete place or person that they can speak to if they're really having difficulties?
Yeah, yes, even in a temporary capacity.
And I just want to make the point, and I've often said this at these meetings, that we really are the voices of the people that we represent, not just our own constituents, but anyone that's in relation to the early years and childcare sector for this particular issue. And there is total panic this week, and I just feel like it always seems to land on the shoulders of the workers and the providers in the early years and childcare. They always seem to get the wrong end of everything. You know, they had to panic about the re-registration, and now we hear they're accepting people after the deadline. But you know, the stress that causes on people, and the worry, and you know, there's loads of examples. One person from Donegal, their premium is going from 1,800 to 4,275, and that's a huge increase. In Kilkenny, a €2,200 increase. In Tala, a €1,000 increase. So while I welcome, and for some of those people, €1,500 will be a help, but for some of them it won't. And I think we really need to know where we can point people that the €1,500 is not going to cut it, because otherwise we will see services closing. And that doesn't just mean kids being left without their place that they rely on. It means parents trying to get to work. It means workers who are working in the area, particularly in rural areas where, you know, it might be one of the main employers, a local childcare provider. So it's just really important. I just feel like, you know, again, the childcare in early years sort of gets the raw end of the stick. And I welcome that we did have this meeting and that you did come in at short notice, because at least I feel it's given some recognition to them as well, that they are an extremely, extremely important sector. So that they're my real main questions. I could say loads, but I don't think, you know, I think we have to try to focus on the solutions. So.
And I appreciate all your comments and the spirit that you're making them in. And again, you know, it's important to say it is an average payment. It is, and in light of some of the comments you're making, I am trying to be explicit that it is actually responding to what you're also saying in terms of it has been really difficult, incredible stress, lots of pressure. I am aware of that. And a lot of it coming from a substantial portion of it coming from the additional administrative burden, re-registration, which I think people accept has to be done, but it's still, it's the first time the re-registration has happened. Some of the things have changed in that regard. And then also the National Childcare Scheme. I mean, again, that's hopefully a once-off. So that is the reason. It is not to pay insurance per se. It is effectively to acknowledge the pressure and the stresses that have to do with it, that come along with the year, and especially in an administrative capacity. In your question around if it's, suppose it doesn't, you know, really meet all of the increased costs, I think what I'm saying, there's at least two ways in which we're offering support: that once-off program support payment, and then, and you are also referring to that, if in fact they find themselves in an unsustainable position, then they do need to contact, and I've just asked Bernie here, you know, I mean, still to contact CCC or Pobble first if they can't get through, to contact us. And if they're contacting us about that, we'll know that it is urgent. But we really would ask, and we would, because we'll be back in touch with them in relation to how important it is in terms of this particular issue. So it is, there is, and I think, so going back to then the questions around the substantial, the 200, 300%, maybe even more than that. we have to, if it's causing, certainly causing a sustainability concern or issue, then we need to hear, from the provider. Secondly, I'm also indicating that I want to immediately begin to collect the information about the percentages of increase, the data, so that we better understand what's going on and what changes are now in relation to the sector, particularly because at the moment there is only one insurer, even though that we hope that that changes.